Year 3, and again today we're looking at interpreting and representing data using those graphs and charts. And today we are looking at interpreting that data. So what does that data show? We'll begin by looking at the in focus question, and then we'll move on to looking how it's represented in a table, a pictogram and a picture graph, and finally it's your turn. So today's in focus question, we have a graph, and this graph shows us data about oranges, pears and strawberries like yesterday's did. And remember that all important thing to check at the very beginning, the key. So what does each of those red squares represent? And we always have to check this because, like we said, it could represent 2 oranges each time. It could represent 5 or 10, but in this case, it's just representing 1 fruit each time. So it says Ravi draws a graph to show the number of fruit in his basket. Can you draw a different graph to show the same information? So look at what that graph already shows us and have a little go how you would represent that data. So we've got a bar graph. Now a bar graph uses a scale. Now because each square represented 1 fruit, the scale is increasing by 1 each time as well to show this. So we clearly see that there are 8 oranges, there are 6 pears and there are 10 strawberries. And that's what that graph is telling us straight away. Now if we have a little look at, I pop those on. If we have a little look at the next question, how many more strawberries are there than pears? Think how you would work this out. What information do we already know that could help us? And what number sentence perhaps could we use to help us if we didn't physically do something? What number sentence could we have a little look at? So pause the video now and have a little go. So we're finding the difference. We're seeing how many more strawberries than there are pears, and that's finding the difference. Now in this case, because there are 10 strawberries and there are 6 pears, these are the key numbers and information I need in order to help me. So when you find the difference, the easiest thing to do is to take away. Because when you get to bigger numbers, that's the easiest way to do it. You can add on, and that's absolutely fine, and I'll show you that in a moment. But it's easier to take away because when you find you've got the bigger numbers, this is the method I would choose. So we've got 10 strawberries, and if we take away the 6 pears, we are left with 4. And 4 is the difference between how many strawberries there are in comparison to pears. So if I show you here, I physically added on 4 extra boxes, and that shows you that the difference between pears and strawberries is 4. So you can visually see it as well. So if we was to do add instead of taken away, we know that we've got 6 pears, so you'd start with 6, and you know you're trying to reach 10. So how many more do I need to add on to reach 10? Well, if I add 1 more, it gets me to 7, and so on until you get to 10. I needed to add 4 more pears on. So you can do it that way, but like I say, taking away to find the difference is the simplest. So we start with the biggest, which was the 10 strawberries, and we take away the 6 pears, and it leaves us with 4 as the difference. So now it's your turn. Have a little look on Google Classroom. So you'll have questions like this. So you'll have a data set. So if we look at this data set, it talks about how we came into school. At the bottom of the bar graph, we've got we came by walking, we used a car, we cycled, we used a bus, or we took a train. And on the left-hand side is that scale. Now you can clearly see each time it's increasing by 1. So each box is worth 1. Always remember to check the key on the data set. And then you'll have some questions to answer about that data set. So there's lots more on there. Have a little go. Good luck.